3 pebbles being dropped into a pizza pan filled with water. And you drop these pebbles simultaneously into the water. What happens? Each pebble announces what happens to it. In fact, it's screaming, "Help, I'm drowning in a pizza pan." So it sends out these wavelets that reach every point on the surface of this water. And every pebble does that. So if we take this water now, which resulted in a pattern of wavelets that now clash into one another, all this information about the pebbles. And it's called the interference pattern. In cross-section, it would look like that. And if you quick freeze the water and you get a piece of ice like this, which is actually a photograph of all the information about these pebbles. And then you take what is known as coherent light, or light where all the rays are of the same frequency, a laser light, and you shine it through this interference pattern. Lo and behold, you see the 3 pebbles reconstructed 3-dimensionally in space. This is the important part of the hologram, that all the information is contained in this pattern, and every point of this pattern contains that information, because if by mistake you break this piece of ice and you end up with a little sliver of it and you shine the same light through it, you will still get your 3 pebbles. So this method of storing information is the most efficient way that nature has devised. And so Ben was a great believer and observer of the phenomenon of the relationship between the micro level and the macro level. When nature comes up with a method that really works, then it will be repeated on all these different levels, and we see more of that later. This is an actual photograph, if you can see it, of waves interacting with each other, creating this moire pattern of waves. It will actually look something like that. And here, if you shine this coherent light, the 3-dimensional object gets reconstructed. Now, if instead of those 3 pebbles, we substitute 3 individuals, because we, like the pebbles, are constantly sending out information about ourselves in a variety of ways. And all these fields are interacting, creating a hologram, an interference pattern, and you could say that human consciousness is one big hologram of information about humanity as a whole. We are one mind, one consciousness. And of course, the implications of this are stupendous, because if we realize that everything that we do, that we think, affects not only us, but everyone else, and not only everyone else in humanity, but it also goes beyond the boundaries of our planet. And another way of looking at this would be to see these 3 pebbles, or 3 separate individuals who feel themselves so isolated on this physical level. But if these lines here indicate ever-widening consciousness, we notice that on these higher levels, we begin to interact. So these 2 are interacting here, these 2 here, but all 3 are interacting on the next level. And if you visualize humanity being composed of these separate dots and billions of us, then on the highest level, we are all interacting and we are all one. And of course, you can look at it in reverse, that here's human consciousness, all one, and it sort of percolates down or dribbles down into these separate units, and we all think that we are so separate. And as we interact, we entrain each other. As we saw before, there is a principle of resonance and of entrainment, or rhythm communication. In other words, a consciousness that has done its homework. This is a teacher, a guru, who has advanced somewhat beyond the others. Then his energy, his consciousness will be more coherent, it will be more harmonious, and like those oscillators that we looked at, it will entrain and pull after itself consciousnesses that are less evolved.